So now it says stop broadcast if I want, and it's saying live. So, oh, I do. Okay, I'm sorry. Hang on. Let me do that then. My apologies. Yeah, I am seeing that now. I apologize. I totally thought. Okay, I'm sending it to you guys. Invite that person. And Rebecca, what's your email again? Which one would you like me to send it to? Okay. Okay, let me see. I'm gonna just send it to your BYUI email. I think I did that right. Okay, sending it now. All right, so it should be there in your guys' email momentarily. And then for the teacher, I just copied it, like how it says links under here, and I just copied that and pasted it into our discussion, correct? The discussion board. Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at it, and it's a YouTube. Yeah, it's like HTTP or whatever. Okay. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, just
This looks promising.
okay. Is this it?
I believe so. It says live. We should be good.
Okay, yeah, excellent. Let me just post it real quick to the discussion board real quick.
Awesome.
Post B321 week 7 group meeting link. Post. Okay, got that. All right, and so has anyone heard anything from Brandon? I haven't gotten any emails for today.
No. So, send him a quick email too.
And has Haley, let's see, Haley's not in yet, correct?
Yeah, I don't think she's on yet.
Yeah, I'm not seeing her yet either, but hopefully because I sent it to you, and then hopefully she's just getting on right now.
Yeah, I saw it, so she should be able to find it.
Yeah.
If not, I'm sure she'll email us in just a second.
Yeah, I was gonna say she'll probably email us.
Brandon was in our meeting last week. Here, and he was there, but I haven't heard anything from him other than that. So.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll just keep my email open just in case Haley. Look, it doesn't work. I'm trying to think. Yeah, when I looked at the questions for the group leader, I was just like, wow, that was seemed like easy or adorable.
Yeah. Well, it's like, come up with the rest of your questions from these articles, right? I'm like,
right. I read the article and I was like, okay, the answer, stuff that at least I've heard a lot, I think in the church just hear a lot about obviously that topic of gratitude. So I was just like, okay, just with more facts, I think especially the other two articles, the Harvard one and then the other guy's article.
Yeah, not my favorite week of reading so far. Maybe just because it seems like a topic that we've seen constantly since he's nothing really new there. That's probably bad, but I'm just like,
yeah, it wasn't any groundbreaking thoughts about gratitude for me. I was like, okay, yeah, like what, those things, that one article where he said like here are things that like block you from being grateful. Like, okay, yeah, like definitely had plenty of general conference talks like that, or in general from our prophets.
Haley said she didn't get the link.
Okay, let me send it.
I haven't received an invite to the new one.
Okay, give me a second.
You sent it on the Google Hangout chat. Yeah, but like last week on the whole like recruiting a star thing, I thought that reading was really interesting because like I wouldn't have thought all that stuff about like hiring a current star. Like that was really interesting because that was like, new information, kind of changed my opinion on things. But
yeah, like the pros and cons of hiring a star, or like, you know what I mean? I was like, wow, it was interesting how it said like most stars don't actually, from what I remember, like most stars don't actually do as well as they were at their whatever company they were at, and then the new one.
They move, yeah.
Yeah, okay, I sent it again.
Awesome.
Yeah. I just sent it, so hopefully, and I sent it to the email you gave me, the WAR B16005.
That was, I think, the only one. So if you go to the Google Hangouts page, do you see the chat where we were? Oh, were you on that one? The Google Hangout chat? Let me see if I have another email for her. I just like type it into my thing, and that's the only one that comes up when I type her name into like the Outlook email for BYU.
Right. Hang on. I think. Let me go look. I'm gonna go look at our sign up sheet because I know it has our emails there. So I have a HaleyLedford@gmail.com. Let me just do that real quick just in case.
That would probably work.
That's probably actually, I think you do need a Gmail in order to.
Well, I think like yours came through to my BYU email just fine. It looks different, just like an invite, but it should still show up. I don't know why. Or maybe she's not on that email.
Okay, I sent it to her HaleyLedford@gmail just in case. Hopefully she sees that.
Technology. Too complicated.
Yeah, I'm thinking with this one, it'll probably be a shorter discussion.
Yeah. Oh, look, it's Haley.
Hey. Okay, can you hear us, Haley?
Yeah, I don't know why it's still reading though. There we
go. Okay, sweet. Well, I'm glad it worked out. Sorry for getting it started so late with this.
Oh, it's okay. It's kind of confusing.
Yeah, no worries. Let me just put that there. Okay, so basically to start, I guess we could start with a prayer. I can say it. I'll just say the prayer real quick. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this time that we have to be able to meet as a group for class and be able to discuss this week's reading. Please help us have the spirit that we can be able to understand the material at hand for this week and to be able to help each other and to learn and grow together. And please continue to help us out the rest of the week. And we say things in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, so let's see. Let's just, I guess, jump right into the questions. So the first one was like thinking of the 3 people of who you're grateful for, and then doing something for them, like writing a note, and then like it said giving them a snack or like a treat. And so I guess to start, I'll just what I had was I picked my fiance, a roommate, and then my siblings, and they all actually are up here at BYU Idaho with me. So that's kind of nice because I have 2 siblings who go up to school here with me. So we try to see each other at least once a week and do like a family, kind of outing or something. And so I just got them like their favorite candy. Like my little sister is a healthy person, like really oriented. And so I got her like basically trail mix because she really likes trail mix. And then my brother, I just got Reese's peanut butter cups because he really likes that. And but I wrote them all a note just saying like, hey, like how I appreciate, like my fiance, I appreciated basically how she always likes to check in on me, even like when I get home, like I'll leave her place, her apartment, and it seems a little silly at first, like when I started doing it, but it's just nice. Well, like, hey, I got home safely, even though it's Rexburg, and it's like it's not that like dangerous in my opinion, or like at least driving either.
It's nice to have someone that cares.
Mm-hmm. How about you guys? What were you guys able to do or pick? Who you picked?
I
You
can go. So I picked. It's gonna sound really snobbish, but it's really not. So I have a maid, and her name's Maria. She just comes twice a week to like help out. It's really cheaper. So, but I wrote her.
That's awesome.
I know. I made her cookies because there was one time I had to have gallbladder surgery last year, and she came like really early, and like gave her like hardly any notice, but she came when I needed the surgery and watched my kids and spent the night, and she did that same thing for us yesterday, and she's just so nice, and so she's LDS, and just she's like the nicest person ever, and she always comes and has a happy attitude and is so great with my kids and things like that. So I wrote her a note. It was hard because I had to do it in Portuguese, and so that one took me a long time to write because everything was. I hope it made sense to her because sometimes Google Translate doesn't always work.
Right.
And then I wrote a note to my husband because he just does everything for us, and he's brought us on this awesome adventure, and he did it through like hard work and through determination and he's like the most honest and person I know. He always does his home teaching, and he's very spiritual, and then I wrote both of my kids a letter. My husband's really good at this. He writes them letters just a few times a year just to tell them how proud he is of them. And I've never done that, and so I thought it would be a good opportunity to tell them each personally what I appreciate about them and how proud I am of them and the people they're becoming, so that they could always have that to look back on and read. So, and I just made a big batch of cookies, and everybody got cookies.
That's awesome. I also did one for my husband. At first, I was like, I don't know, sometimes with these assignments, I'm like, you should do someone outside your family. But then I was like, my husband, my family are, they're just the most important people. So there's no reason why it shouldn't be those people. So just wrote a little note to my husband. And I did one for my grandparents because they very generously let me and my husband live in their basement just for our last year of school. We were like, save some money, see if we can live with someone. So we're here for another couple months, and just thought, I've said thank you and done things obviously to try to, help around their house and help take care of them a bit, but to actually do a note and make them a treat. We make them dinner and things a couple times a week. So that was fun. And I also wrote an email to both of my parents because they live out of the state. But this is obviously parents do so much for you, right? And they're both also just kind of having a hard time and going through some stuff. So I thought it'd be nice to just send a little happy note their way and encouragement. So it was fun to do.
That's good. I realized I didn't actually. So for my roommate, the reason I chose him was because he's actually a member for my mission where I served in Phoenix, like where he would go out with us on splits as me being the missionary, and he recently got back from his mission, so it's kind of crazy to think like how much time has passed since then. And then, but it's been a really good time just because sometimes, like, I don't know if you've had that experience or heard stories with like people who like room or live by members from your mission, and it's been a good experience just because I have heard those words bad, like oh, and it's really nice because he tells me about the members from that, you know, the ward I served in, his ward, and the other areas, and so it's like nice to hear the like news about how people are doing, and so I'm able to actually stay in touch with him more. And so I kind of just thank him for actually telling me. I never asked him like, hey, update me, you know, like what's the week every time on the ward happening, and he just does it. He'll be like, dude, like, did you hear about this person? I'm like, no, I didn't. He's like, well, this happened. I'm like, oh, that's cool. So I've been able to, you know, actually stay more in contact with them and not just, you know, it's easy for me in college to forget about other people besides myself.
That's
so
cool.
That was, yeah, it's been nice. But let's see. Hang on, where's the next question? So the other questions were, okay, yeah, here they are. Sorry. All right. Okay, yeah. So the second part is says like write down your impressions of how you felt during the whole process as you consider the following questions. And I figured we could either just, I mean, we've already talked a little about some of it, but it says, what did it feel like to extend gratitude towards the 3 people you thanked? How did they feel, and what was their reaction towards you? The other question is like, what is the role of gratitude in organizations? Have you seen any examples of how it increased effectiveness?
I think it's interesting to do like activities like this where you like intentionally sit down to like write out things you're grateful for or write notes like this, because I think the whole idea like you see what you look for is like so true. So I think it's really easy when you're going through life, you know, to see the good and the bad, and the bad sometimes more than the good. But like when you really sit down and think about what you're grateful for, like there's so many things there that you just forget about kind of and take for granted with lots of people. So I think it's always fun in activities like this.
I also think it's like when it comes to the effectiveness, I know when I would have a boss or somebody that kind of pulled me aside and just said, hey, I think you're doing a really good job. Thanks for doing this, and that. You know, you feel like they notice the things that you're trying to do and the good things that you're doing. And I think it makes you want to work harder.
Definitely. I definitely agree, Haley, on that, because you do want to work harder. A lot of the articles talked about that, but I was just reflecting on with my roommates and how like only there's like 6 of us and like only some of us clean, but throughout this semester, because it's like halfway through now almost, well, yeah, roughly halfway through it. We've been able to like they said thank you like for the people who clean, and then I've noticed that slowly like the ones who don't clean, some of them have started cleaning. So that's like I think a direct result of them like recognizing and sharing their thanks, and it's helped me not just be like, you know, hold resentment or bitter feelings about them not cleaning all the time, or like the little things, you know, just those moments when you come home and you're like, oh, it's a mess and everything.
Yeah, I understand that.
Definitely.
It never makes things worse, right? So why not?
Exactly.
Why not?
I don't think expressing gratitude can have a negative effect. And if it is, then it's all on that person, I think. You know, like it's nothing you did or can do, and everyone's in charge of their own happiness. And so if they just choose to be unhappy anyway, then that's their choice. And there's nothing you can do to make them change or whatever. So
yeah,
it's definitely true. So then
it makes I think within yourself, it makes you also recognize, well, I know I'm thankful for this. Maybe that's something I need to work better on, you know, is listening better, or, you know, whatever you're thanking the other people for, maybe turn around and look at yourself and be like, well, am I doing these things that somebody would be grateful for, or am I just taking from other people?
True, very true. The next question it says is that we can talk about is what are barriers to expressing gratitude and how are they overcome?
I think I touched on one is, other people's attitudes. If they don't want to be, they're just like, oh, okay, whatever. They don't really believe that. They're like, well, what do you want out of it? Why are you saying thank you? What do you want out of this? Like my husband always jokes whenever I tell him thank you or I say something really nice to him, he's like, how much do you need? Like, what did you bring? It's like an ongoing joke, but but sometimes that's serious that people like can't take a compliment and they think that you just want something out of them.
Right.
Yeah. No, and definitely. I think that could be a barrier of that. And maybe you just need to compliment them more because they don't have either how you overcome it is doing it more often. And for different things, not the same thing over and over, but maybe they don't have the self-esteem or whatever it is inside of them that makes them believe that somebody can have gratitude towards me. So if you do that more often, then maybe it'll help them realize it within themselves that they're doing something good.
Definitely. I liked one of the things in the last article written by that guy, or I think it was actually a book maybe they were just quoting from, but he listed some, and I liked the sense of entitlement. I have my little brother, he's the youngest out of 7, and so he's definitely like him being like, and I'm the middle child, so I'm right in the middle. So I have 3 older, 3 younger, and it's very, you hear a lot of those different placements of kids, but he definitely has a larger sense of entitlement. He's definitely working on it, but he definitely sometimes his comments just always throw the older kids by surprise. We're just like, man, this kid has a huge sense of entitlement because he doesn't express his gratitude as often as as his siblings, at least from our point of view, it seems like. And so that's something as I sat there, like when it reading sense of entitlement, I thought of my brother instantly, and I was like, okay, like I definitely also have those moments of feeling entitled.
Yeah. Well, and they grow. Your youngest, I have this, both my husband and I go through the same thing with our youngest siblings. They grew up so different than we did.
Yeah.
Yep.
One, because like there's 11 years difference between my husband and his youngest, and with me there's 13 years, and with me there's 8. And so your parents have changed. Maybe they got a little bit more lenient or whatever, and you're like, I would never have gotten away with that.
A lot more lenient.
Yeah. Way more lax. Way more lax.
Yeah, and it's a good thing in some ways and not in others. Like I even find myself between my first and second, I'm way more lenient with him than I was and way more relaxed. And I think, yeah, I don't know. Every kid grows up differently. And so, the older siblings hark on the younger ones being like, we didn't ever get away with anything like that. Be grateful for like blah, 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 and that you feel like they're like totally not grateful for what they have when you feel like it's more than you.
Yeah, it was really interesting. Okay, I have 2 little sisters. They're like 10 and 11 years younger than me. And I totally love them. But my parents just moved. And like you were saying, like my parents, like, attitudes and like parenting style has definitely changed. And also just like their financial situation has changed, right? From when they were newly married and had 4 young kids, and now they've been married for 30 years and they have just 2 at home and all this stuff. So they're moving into this new house, and it's like this beautiful new house. And my sisters were like, I don't know, our bedrooms are really small. And I'm like, when I was your age, I shared with 3 boys. Like, you're gonna survive, seriously. Just like from a completely different lifestyle. It's just funny.
Yeah.
I would say another one is like if you're ever holding a grudge or like have pre-existing bad feelings, you either then ignore the good things that person that you're upset at, does, or that it's there, but you refuse to acknowledge it, or, I've seen that happen a lot.
Yeah.
with people and like in family a lot, which is hard because they'll, you know, if you're already upset at someone, then you're gonna be like, no. I don't want to hear anything good about them. They can't do anything good.
Yeah, and it's hard to be thankful too if they do nice things to you. If you're still mad about something, I've had that like with siblings especially. It's just like they did something nice, but I was still upset about like something, you know, really petty usually. It was really like, oh, they ate my cereal when I asked them like not to, and I bought it. I'm like, guys, like that was my cereal. I bought it. Like my family does that a lot. They'll just eat it if it's in the fridge. They don't care, even if they know that's someone else's. And they said like don't eat it. They're still just like, well, the reasoning is I was hungry, you were there. So and so my siblings did that a lot growing up. Is like they would do that, and then they try to be like, you know, apologize and like show their gratitude for me. And I just always like, no, like I'll come back later. Just let me come back in my own time when I'm like calmed down. I don't want to be like.
That's funny. We totally used to hide food all the time. The good stuff we take it and hide it. Yeah, but it's. I'd say that's a big one that I see a lot. You're like, no, I want to be mad at you, so don't do something nice. Refuse to be grateful.
That's true. Another one that I liked was how in that same article, the third article of the three, is he said a lack of prior deprivation. So like not knowing what it's like to live without something. Yeah. I think especially in America, like living in a first world country or wherever you are, like definitely we take things for granted more. And I think that same goes in a business. If like say you work at one place, at one job, and you don't realize how good it was until you go to another job that has maybe less privileges or perks or benefits. I think we've all been there, wherever you grow up or wherever you live, just like knowing that or knowing someone who had, you know, a really good job and then they go to a better job or a worse job and they realize, you know.
Yeah. So I've had some interesting experiences along those lines. So my husband is from Lima, Peru, and his family was like fairly well off, but around a lot of people who had, you know, nothing in the area and in the country. Right. So it's just been interesting to hear his thoughts on things, and you know, as he hears people complain about things, just be like, really? And so all the time between the two of us, like we'll hear something and we're always like, first world problems, like, you know. Could be so much worse, but you know, it's so interesting though, because they feel like such real problems to us given our circumstances and what we're used to, but then there's this whole other levels of problems, right, that like we just don't even think about. And yeah, it's interesting. Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, living here in Brazil has made me grateful for a lot, especially when we go back and everything. The silliest thing I think I've been grateful for is parking spots. They are about half the size here. Like they are tiny, and it's because all the cars are tiny. Like you don't see a lot of SUVs or trucks or anything like that. And we drive a Ford Fusion, which isn't like a huge car in the United States, but it is a huge car here. And so like when I go, I have to, sometimes I drive around forever because I want to park somewhere where there's not another car next to me, so I have more room, you know. But I do like 20-point turns, and it's ridiculous. And so when I go to like Walmart or Target in the US, I'm like, oh my gosh, I could fit 3 of my cars in here. Like that's the silliest thing I think I'm more grateful for. The size of parking spot and the size of like car lanes, and there's not motorcycles like buzzing by you constantly, and so
it's awesome to be grateful for the little things.
Yeah. Right. It really does make you like, you're like, oh, everything is so easy in the US.
So I was adopted from Vietnam when I was 2 years old, so I don't remember Vietnam at all. And Vietnam's still a third world country. The only reason I know that is because I've had friends visit it, and buddies who served missions there, and so like, yeah, it's definitely a third world country still. And I actually served 2 missions. I served over at a place called Malaysia, it's like right by Thailand and the Philippines. So it's another Asian country. And when I went there, one of the things I realized immediately when I went there was I was able to see, obviously, being a third world country, how America has a lot more. But for something for myself, just a personal development, was that I was able to get like a pretty good glimpse of what my life would have been like in Vietnam if I'd grown up there and not been adopted. And so it's like, it's something I've always realized, like post mission, when people are like, oh, why'd you only, because I only served there like 7 months. And then I finished the rest in Phoenix after having some health issues. And so I'm just like, yeah, I was only there a few months, but it helped me realize, like, eternally grateful, like even more so, of what we have in America and what my life's been like because of that, like adoption and having the gospel and, all those things.
And maybe you just had to go there just for that,
Right.
See, because I'm sure throughout your life, maybe or maybe not, you always kind of see here in the back of your head, you're like, well, what if,
Exactly. Oh yeah, definitely. I think a lot. Think a lot about that. So another thing that happened in one of the articles, I'm not sure which, they asked us it had like 4 questions, and it said like, rate yourself on a scale from 0 to 10. I don't know if you guys did that. I did that, but I thought we don't have to actually say our answers, but I was just going to read the questions out loud and just like let you like think about it yourself, like what answer you give. And so the first one was 0 being like really bad, 10 being like the best, And the first one was, how intensely do I show my gratitude? And then the second question is like, how frequently do I express my gratitude? And then the third one was, for how many circumstances in my life do I feel grateful? Toward how many different people do I feel grateful for a specific positive circumstances in my life? And I really like those questions because it caused a lot of reflection for me, just on like, rating myself. I'm like, like some isn't, one number is not as high as I'd like. I'm like, good thing no one else knows my answers. Like in class, when, whenever people ask you like scale 1 to 10, I'm like, like I don't want to look over at someone else's.
Yeah. Well, and I think in different parts of your life and with different people and groups of people, you're more grateful in others than some, like it's sad, but I think you're less grateful towards maybe your family members than you are towards others who do service for you or do something for you. I think we're quicker to tell people outside our family that we're grateful for them rather than the ones inside our family that probably need to hear it a little bit more. And they're the ones that you're stuck with forever, right? Like not stuck with, but you know what I mean.
But kind of stuck with, yeah.
Sometimes you feel like, I'm stuck, but
yeah, not in a bad way, but yeah, you're gonna be.
So I think maybe my number might be a little bit lower within my own family than maybe outside my family, and so that could be something to look at and reflect on within yourself too. Is that where am I really good at giving thanks, and how can I bring that into my own life? And there was a question to add to your questions in I think it was the President Monson article that said, how can you cultivate attitude of gratitude or something like that, or a heart of gratitude? How can we cultivate within our hearts an attitude of gratitude? And I thought that was something, and it talked a lot about pride and having a prayerful life. And it said a prayerful life is the key to possessing gratitude, which I thought was interesting too.
Yeah, no, I really like that talk too. Somewhere later in that talk, he basically says like there's 3 types of gratitude, where the first one being like expressing gratitude, which is great. He said enacting gratitude, so like actually, doing grateful actions or reciprocating. And then he said the best way of being grateful, like incorporating gratitude in our lives, is to live with gratitude ever in our hearts. And to quote him, he says, living with gratitude ever in our hearts is to touch heaven. And I really like that, of how we can be kind of like our Heavenly Father the most if we actually just always, have that gratitude as we go throughout our day, doing it, expressing it.
I think it's just along the same lines that when you're really looking for stuff, like it just changes. It can change everything throughout your day. Like a couple years ago, my family did like there's this book like called 1,000 Gifts about like gratitude, and it's this girl who wrote 3 things that she was grateful for every day for a year, which gives you like 1,000 things at the end of the year that you're grateful for. And so my parents were doing it, and they were like talking to us, their kids, and being like, if anyone wants to join us and like do these, try to list some things every day, like 3 things that you're grateful for. And it was super interesting. I didn't make it the whole year, but I did it on and off when I remembered. But like when just doing that, it just changed so many things, because as I was going throughout my day, I'd be like, oh, hey, that's something I could add to my list. That's something I could add to my list. And like the more I did it, the more I saw things. So I just feel like it can, when you're intentionally looking for things, you find so many more things to be grateful for, and it just makes everything better. It makes you appreciate people more. It's just really cool how your life can be exactly the same, but it can feel so different.
Yeah, I think especially on those days where you're totally not feeling grateful, something like an activity like that, I think would, especially if you did it kind of at the end of the day, would help you. Would help you kind of your spirits and go to bed in a better attitude.
Yeah, I definitely agree, Haley and Rebecca, on those comments with going to bed, especially. That's something I've tried to do in my prayers a lot. More recently in the last few years is like focusing more, like 80% of my going before I go to bed being like just grateful, like expressing gratitude for the day, like things that happened in the day. Usually it's around school related stuff, like thanks for helping me get this assignment, or just getting it better. Or remembering the material better. But things like that, just I noticed as I've shifted my focus more to just thanks at night, that it's helped me like be happier. Like I feel that noticeable difference of being just happier and being more content, because it is easy. Like a lot of these articles talked about how comparison, or wanting more things you don't have, but being more content with my life and what I do have at this point.
I agree. And I think like being happy with what you have is so important, because if you're not happy with what you have right now, then what makes you think that you're going to be happy when you have that next thing, right? So if you're in that habit, like I've just seen people like that, where they just think, once I get this thing, or once I have this or do this, then I'm going to be happy. But then there's always just one more thing out of place, so out of reach, and then they're always waiting to be happy, and like missing out on all the years that you could be happy, if you just decide it's okay where you are. So
yeah, and I think I said at the beginning of the call, nobody can make you happy but you. It's your decision to be happy or to be miserable. And so if you're waiting for something, you're going to be waiting forever, because it's your own attitude and your own decision to be happy or not be happy. And I tell my kids that all the time. I'm like, this is your decision. Or if they go to timeout, I was like, this was your decision to go to timeout. How you acted and how you chose to act is your decision.
Yeah.
I'm trying to teach them that now, that this is your decision to like be happy or not, or to be in trouble or whatever. You're the one that decided this. Nobody else
right.
made,
Yeah,
That's
it's awesome. It's like shifting from event, like how Rebecca, you said, like, waiting for a moment. We think when we get a new car, a new job, a new relationship, a new, like moving a location, house, or whatever apartment, that you'll be happier. But it goes like how the prophets say, like, you need to be in a state of happiness or service, or whatever attitude, and carry that throughout the day, throughout the year, throughout the month. And because I met a lot of people like that on my mission, especially missionaries who just like say like, well, after my mission, I'm going to get a really high paying job and then I'll be happy. Like, can't you be happy now? Like you could be happy now, or like even with the lower paying jobs. And they're like, no, that's not happiness. And they're always like, I saw my dad and he's not we're not as rich, and that's rich is, being financially well off is what a lot of them equated as happiness. And that's what a lot of the world says.
Miles, you probably saw it a lot in Malaysia or even in Phoenix, that sometimes the poorest people and the people that you think have the most to complain about are the happiest people and the most grateful people. And I see it here all the time. It's almost like the more money you have, the more miserable you are, because you expect that that's what's supposed to bring you happiness almost. You know?
Yeah, you kind of rely on that.
They have nothing, and they live in a self-made house in the ghetto, and they're so happy, Kind of puts life into perspective a little bit sometimes if you choose to look at it that way.
Yeah, and I think that attitude of, I can control my state of happiness and, state of being also kind of extends to, being proactive in other areas of your life too, like, not just being a victim of your situation or the way you were grown up, or the way you were raised, and different things. I think it would kind of seep out into other aspects where, you feel more in control of your situation and willing to make changes and, make the life that you want in other ways too, so you can be content with that also.
Yeah, if you can't be happy in the lowest part of your life, I don't see how you can be happy when you actually have what you've been wishing for your whole life,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I just thought in connection is I have to speak in church this upcoming Sunday, and my topic is following the prophet. And the thought just came to mind, this is the Heavenly Father trying to teach me. He's like, hey, Miles, like, how you can be really grateful and happy? So you follow the prophet. And I was just like, dang it. And then I started singing the song, the primary song, like, follow the prophet.
Yeah.
And it's true, though. Like, the Holy Ghost definitely just testified to me that it is true that, when we do follow the prophet, or we follow, good principles, good teachings, and also do our best at work, especially in relation to this class, when we do our best with our homework or our actual jobs and careers, then we will be happy and, following those guidelines that have been given to us.
So we just basically wrote your talk, is what you're saying?
You're welcome.
You're welcome. You should have gratitude towards us now.
Right? I'll mention that and be like, guys, when I was writing my talk for church, my classmates helped me, so I can't claim all the credit.
You could just play clips of our discussion,
I owe notes of gratitude to them and their favorite candy bar.
Just rain candy down on the congregation.
I'm sure the bishop and the bishopric would love that. Just be like, uh-oh. Maybe not. Let's not ask him to speak again. Probably like, no, we're scratching him off the list.
Yep. That's funny.
Yeah. Is there any other thoughts or comments we have for this? Or if not, I feel like we were able to.
I think that was a good discussion. I enjoyed that discussion.
I think we've done an excellent job. We're a fantastic team.
I am grateful for our discussion.
Yeah, I do look forward to them. I have 2 other groups, and one of my other groups I was have to go to today. It's in class. It's for a research class, and I don't look forward to that group because it's just like the individuals, and so. But I like this group a lot, so that's nice.
Me too.
Yep. So do I need to do anything else besides, obviously I hit stop broadcast and then that's it, right? I don't have to because I already put the link up, right?
Yep, that's all you have to do.
Okay, yeah, excellent.
You posted this new link on the discussion board, right? So
yeah. I posted this, how it says like YouTube or HTTP. Yeah, I put that on the discussion board, the correct link.
Yeah,
awesome. Thank you for doing that.
Yep. All right.
Discussion.
All right. Who's the
next week?
Is it me or?
Let me pull it up real quick.
I think it might be Haley.
That was the first one.
It's Haley. Lesson 8. Okay.
All right. Then I'll send it up next. Okay.
We'll see you next Tuesday then.
Talk to you guys later. Bye.